Hello, this is Mike from Cornerbowl Software. This is the first part of a multi-part video tutorial series in which I will show you centralized syslog management with Cornerbowl Server Manager. In this video series, I'm going to show you how to configure the Cornerbowl Server Manager UDP and TCP syslog servers, how to view syslog entries in real time, how to automatically save syslog entries from any hardware device to the centralized syslog database, how to automatically remove entries no longer required for auditing and compliance from the syslog database, how to generate reports from the syslog database, how to view reports from the syslog database, how to create real-time monitors and filters, then lastly, for NIST and JSIG compliance requirements, how to automatically append all entries in their native text format to a weekly CSV file. When you open the dashboard within the Cornerbowl Management Console, by default you will find the UDP syslog server card. If you've configured your TCP syslog server, a corresponding card is displayed for the TCP syslog server as well. To view the configuration settings, we can open the properties one of two ways. You can click the pencil icon in the dashboard's card, or from the Explorer view, you can expand the root syslog server node, then select syslog server settings. Once displayed, you will find three tabs: Options, Assignments, and Columns. The Options tab contains the settings specific to the UDP and TCP servers. The Assignments tab contains assignment settings. The Columns tab contains viewer display settings. To enable the UDP syslog server, check the Enabled flag. Use the port text box to specify the port. Use the bind address text box to specify the address to bind the server to. 0.0.0.0 binds the server to all local IP addresses. Use the queue size text box to specify the queue size. Anytime the queue is full and therefore unable to keep up with the incoming syslog messages, new messages are dropped until the system is able to recover. Use the batch size text box to specify the number of syslog messages to batch process. When saving syslog messages to Microsoft SQL Server, Server Manager utilizes SQL Server's batch insert capabilities. If you find your server is frequently dropping messages, consider switching to SQL Server. SQL Server provides far superior throughput over MySQL and SQLite. Checking the clear DNS cache empties any prior DNS cached values. To enable the TCP syslog server, check the Enabled flag. Use the port text box to specify the port and the bind address to bind the server to. Use the idle timeout text box to specify idle connection timeouts in seconds. To enable TLS, check Enable TLS. Use the certificate dropdown to select a certificate from your Windows local computer certificate store. Check the Close Duplicate Connections checkbox to clean up duplicate connections from the same device. Use the Message Delimiter option to configure how multiple TCP syslog messages are delimited when multiple messages are sent within the same packet. You have the option to choose carriage return line feed, carriage return line feed, and null characters. Use the Add All New Host checkbox to automatically add any syslog device to the software when a syslog message is received from the device for the first time. Use the Host Identification Method dropdown to select how you would like new connecting hosts to be identified: DNS lookup, DNS and FQDN lookup, or IP address. Check the Enable RFC 5424 to automatically parse entries based on that RFC, or RFC 3164 to parse using the legacy RFC. check Enable Verbose Logging to enable extra logging when Syslog devices are connecting and disconnecting. When you're done with your changes, click Save. The servers will automatically be restarted to apply the new settings. And notice back on the dashboard, we have the TCP Syslog server card. To see the Syslog servers in action, from the Explorer view, select Real-Time Syslog Server Viewer. Now I have two test devices which are going to send UDP and Syslog test messages. Once I start them up, we can see the messages displayed in the real-time viewer. Also notice the IP addresses have been automatically added to the Syslog devices group. If I expand either of these hosts, we see a real-time Syslog viewer node. Selecting the node opens a Syslog viewer that is limited to this device. If you don't have a test Syslog device, there's a pre-built Syslog action which you can use to verify the Syslog server is capturing Syslog messages. From the Explorer view, expand the Root Actions node. Then Sample Actions, then Syslog. Right-click on Syslog, then select Test Syslog Action. If I shut off my automated tests, then clear the real-time viewer, we can easily see the Test Syslog message. If you're able to see the Test Syslog message, however, you are not seeing any messages from your hardware devices, make sure you have configured your hardware devices to Syslog to this IP address, and any firewalls that are between the Syslog devices and Server Manager, including the Windows Firewall, are configured to pass UDP and TCP port 514. By default, the new installations of Server Manager automatically add the Windows Firewall rules. However, if you're using another firewall, you will need to manually add the appropriate firewall rules within the implemented firewall. That's part 1 of Centralized Syslog Management with Corner Bowl Server Manager.